Broadcast message.
What's good, everyone? It's Marvin, also known as MJO23Dan. Welcome to another video of mine. Today we are going to be reviewing the Air Jordan 12 Playoff. So, first released in 1997 at 140 bucks. This is the original right here. And the 2022 retro right here, released on March 11, 2022 at a retail price of 210 bucks. But what's interesting enough is that when I picked up my pair at Shoe Palace, you can see it right there. Yeah, they charged me $200 retail, and the shoes on Sneakers were supposed to be going for $210. So I just thought that was pretty interesting, as well as on the label itself. There's no MSRP sticker on it. Usually when they don't have that, that's an international release. So I'm assuming that Jordan Brand or Nike are still trying to decide, which pairs were supposed to get that $210 distinction versus the $200 distinction. I don't know, man. But retros are supposedly no longer $190. We're up in the $200 range, and it's just gonna keep creeping up and up. But just to go ahead and put these guys side by side, you can see the differences. Well, I mean, not really, other than the swoosh on here and the Jumpman on here. You'll wonder why there's a swoosh on the original, is because at this time Jordan Brand was establishing themselves as a entity aside from Nike, and they decided to create their own brand with his Jordan Brand in '97. So these are part of like the old school boxes back then, and Jordan Brand had kind of done their retro, but put the Jumpman on it because it is, of course, Jordan Brand right now. So just putting these guys side by side, you can see on the original it's a little bit more slimmer. You have that room in there, and then the retro, the recent retro 2022, a little bit bigger. Here's the details on the box label for the OG. You guys can pause and read all that good stuff. Still says Varsity Red on there, and also says Metallic Silver. And then on this one, it says Air Jordan 12, also Varsity Red, but the color code is different. So on the original it's 061, on the retro it is 006. So there's going to be just a tinge difference in color. Let's get into the shoes. So the original came with white tissue paper. Here are the shoes. OGs. Gosh, OGs are so nice. And then the retros. Right here with the brown tissue paper. Alright, so there you go. These are the originals. These are the retros. Just a bird's eye view you can see here. Tell me what you guys notice. Any changes, any differences, similarities. Jordan Brand tries to do it as best they could, but there's still some variations when it comes to retroing shoes. When I think about retro, I think about how, you're at Thanksgiving dinner and mom remembers grandma's recipe that you remember growing up as a kid, and mom can't quite replicate grandma's style of cooking, and you always refer back to grandma. I don't know, grandma, I just I just have the grandma reference just because, my mom is like the leftover queen. She can throw anything together with leftovers, and my grandma just makes everything like from scratch, which is great. But Yeah, it might be different in your household, but in mine is like that growing up. But yeah, just here's a little difference here with the original versus the retro. Let me go ahead and just do one shoe for you. The left shoe right here is gonna be the original, and then this right shoe is gonna be the retro. So off the bat, hopefully you guys can pick up on it, but right here on the tongues, on the originals, they're more tucked in. This fabric here is more tucked in. The leather comes up a little bit more. This one is kind of, you know, remember with threes, how I always pick up on threes and how like the leather kind of, you know, comes up a little bit. But this one actually reverted back. So I'm not sure with past retros. I don't own them. So I'm just doing this OG versus 2022 comparison. But you can see that the fabric creeps up a little bit more and hugs over the leather. I mean, it's a little subtle change, but you guys can notice the difference there. As far as the Jumpmans are concerned, I was pretty amazed at how close they got it to the original. I mean, if you notice like the butt crack portion of like Jumpmans, a lot of people are in my videos sometimes they're like, hey, your pair is fake because it's got like a butt crack or it looks different. And I'm like, well, let me go ahead and give you this video right here called Defending the Jumpman, and I'll let you know like all the Jumpmans were different all across the way. So we really didn't get any streamlined looking stitched Jumpmans up until, you know, a few years ago. So, you know, a lot of that is has changed over the years. So go ahead and check that out. Check that video out and see for yourself. So here's the original. Here's the retro. Text on there on the back I felt was a little bit more cleaner on the retros. The stitching there, you know, they've always gotten better with the stitching over the years, and you know, Jumpman, Nike, you know, they've done a little bit better with their stitch work all throughout. All right, so let's talk about leather quality here for a little bit. You know, I was watching Nightwing's video on Wear Testers, and he had noted that the leather quality wasn't really all that. The leather was overly tumbled, and he felt that his pair was stiff. So, I mean, I have my pair here in hand, and I do see the over tumble in comparison with the OG. You know, the OG has that nice leather. I don't know. Like, if you guys have ever had a chance to touch an OG and just see like the raw materials in all its glory, like, I would invite you guys to do that and just really see the differences here. But I mean, it's got that natural look there. It's just unparalleled as compared to the retro. Like, I mean, you can see like all that heavy tumble all the way across. Like, even here you got a little bit more of like, I don't know what you call this. It's like a bunching here. Like, you can see like a little bit of a hump with that. Yeah, so, but I mean, the leather soft, I think you guys would just, you know, be okay with that. It didn't feel weird at all on my feet. I mean, you're not really I guess missing too much, I guess. My other concern was, though, the lizard embossed print that's on the lateral side of the shoe. So that, and it's probably not a good way to see it under this lighting, but it tends to fade. Like, I don't see a heavy embossed look on there as I do with like the OG. The midsole definitely has that look to it a lot more, but when it comes to the retro, particularly on mine, like it starts heavy right here towards the middle part of the shoe, and then it just fades. So it's kind of weird. The Jumpman, plastic Jumpman tabs, so originals, they tend to crack over time. It's going to be hard to find any shoe over time that's not going to have any particular cracking on it. So you will find that it sets a little bit higher than the retros, so you can see a little bit more of the tab there, especially, you know, on the medial side. And so that's what it looks like really side by side. And you can see like the grays or the silver on it is a little bit more darker, whereas, you know, with this one it's kind of faded over time, but it looks a little bit more on the grayish yellowish side. And, you know, this is an old shoe. This is from '97, so what do you expect? So the difference in sizes with the Jumpman tags there, the 23s on the back look the same as I noted also with the Jordan font. It's about the same. Now I was talking about the reds there. I'm not sure if it'll pick up, but I mean, I would say the brighter look of the OG is right there, the varsity red on the OG right here, brighter than the retro. So one thing I don't like Jordan Brand kind of skimp over is, you know, applying this stuff. And I know this is made at mass production and whatnot. So here's your retro, here's the OG. You'll notice on the retro the brush strokes of the glue at the bottom. It kind of hinders the look. You don't really see that carbon fiber shank plate all too much. You can see the brush strokes more. And, you know, that's another craftsmanship issue that I have issues with. You know, other than that, I think it's okay. But you can see like the nice, you know, grayish and black hits of that shank in the original. Beauty, beauty. The red here is a little bit brighter. Again, there might be just due to an oxidation look to it, or the color. You got the black Jumpman that wraps up to the toes. Always dig that look. And then let's see on the insole here. Actually, the laces. So here's your originals. You got a little bit longer lace. And then on the retros, they made them shorter. About the same style. This insole is glued down, so I'm having to like rip up the glue. Ooh. But you can see here on the originals, it's a polyurethane insole. And then on the retros, not glued down, skinnier Jumpman polyurethane insole. So, and then let's see, one little other detail, the pull tab I mentioned a little bit. So there's a little bit more room when I stick my finger into the pull tab of the 2022 retro. You get a little bit more space in there as opposed to the original. You know, it's a little bit tight. So, but really, when you put on a shoe, you're really just gonna pull it from here, right? Instead of putting your finger through. So you got a little bit more material here. So as far as height with the shoe, they actually made the retro a little shorter. And I'll try and get there with the B-roll here so you guys can take a look, but they went shorter, just a little bit, millimeter, maybe two, shorter on the retros as compared to the originals. The shape is a little bit better on the original as compared to the retro. You know, again, like I noted to you guys earlier in the video, you know, with grandma's cooking versus mom's cooking, like that's something that you should really take to heart. Because, you know, when Jordan Brand tries to replicate their own shoes, you know, people like myself will probably be on them about, you know, getting them as close to original as possible. I probably will try and double up with this. It seems like a lot of people out there were able to get a good amount of hits out there as far as, like, you know, copping the sneaker. But anyways, what are your guys' overall thoughts with the sneaker? The last time at retros was probably, what, 2012 in this mid form. And then before that, 2004. And then before that, the OG. So, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are with the comparison, you know, with the 2022 retro and all that good stuff. I'm glad these are back. You know, a lot of people want cherries, though. And hopefully the white and red, you know, the cherries come back out at some point, because that's been some time as well. But anyways, that's your review. I'm MJoe23Dan. Check out my other videos, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
That was your last message.